Hello again.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for coming to us again today. We have questions prepared as usual, maybe less than usual, but coming from Susan and a few from myself. So this is almost a follow-on question or point from last week when we were speaking about the Kundalini, and we had a thorough sort of investigation of the Kundalini and some amazing answers that both Susan and myself felt were very helpful to us. But Susan had been thinking on the answers that you gave her, and she had a dream. So I'll read out the message she sent me, and I just want to get your opinion on the dream. Uh, she channeled a frequency number code to charge her water and her energy with. The intention was to incubate the cosmic egg in readiness for a full Kundalini activation and cracking open to higher wisdom when ready. Now, the code number was 99908877220000, and she offered me the code in case I would like to use it. So I would just like to ask about that code and how best Susan and I can utilize that and use it as a tool to enable the Kundalini to further awaken within us.
And you got it again, and you're gonna get it together again, so placing it on the body and you got it again and calling it in intentionally, and you got it again to activate the and you got it again the and you got it again like the stem cells, the and you got it again the memory within the frequency and vibration of the pathways, so on the feet, hands, or wherever you feel called. So this can help. Also on activating your water, so it is blessed with this vibration and energy, and then it can harmonize into the body and awaken the memory field within that vibration as it merges with the physical essence of the vessel. And you may sleep with that under the pillow, and to bring in as you set your intentions at night within your field of the whatever expansion of light you put around you. Then this can bring teams in to assist to awaken into that space also. And you could work with it and tapping to activate or open up through the heart as you repeat the number, and bring in through a vortex through the heart portal and to embed and be felt and realized into your system. And you could also bring it in through the governing meridian as you repeat the number and harmonize the governing meridian, and connecting it to all other pathways in the body as you repeat the number intentionally for that incubation of that cosmic egg.
Okay, that's wonderful advice. So, as you spoke about the hands or the feet, just writing it on the palm of your hand, perhaps, or writing it on a water vessel to bless your water. Would that be suitable?
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
And then you're saying recite it as you're meditating on the number and bringing it in through the heart portal.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, thank you. Is there some? Can you tell us what it is specifically about that number that kind of connects to the Kundalini, or where it maybe sort of what it opens up or incubates actually? What makes it incubate?
It's like like all eggs need to be fertilized. So it is essentially awakening and that process to allow it to become a reality within this life that you're living here and now.
Okay.
And
Right.
as it fertilizes and it becomes active, it's interconnecting through your meditations. And it's building the matrix, the energy vibrations of the communication pathways so that they interconnect and weave and are connecting into that space.
Thank you very much for that information. That's excellent. So I'd like to speak about Susan's animal oracle cards and just the power held within those cards and the connection that they allow to the spirit of the animals and then what the animals can do for us. So do the cards are obviously a tool to allow us to make that connection. Can you tell us what it is that we're connecting to and then how best we can use that connection and use that frequency when it comes to us when we make the connection?
The animals are unconditional love. They're pure vibration that hold different keys to evolution. This is why they were such a huge part of Susan's healing from illness and because as each one came forth it was another key that built a code, a frequency into the vessel that had been missing. And she sat with that, as she worked with that, as she embodied that, that built out the frequencies. So when you are working with the animals and you call them in, they become one and harmonious with who you are, and they update, they shift the mental and emotional dissonance and to help open those new pathways and frequencies to be received and to be embodied.
Okay. So when we tap into the animals, I'm just trying to work out who they are in spirit. Would it be the blueprint of the particular animal that you're connected with, and is it that brings the love and the benefit to you?
It is it is a frequency that is portrayed in a way that that the mind can receive.
Right,
So
okay.
the cards are like a portal into a consciousness that can create shift and change.
Right,
They present as a form, but this is more it's like when beings will present as a form so that they can be received, not feared, and to make them better understood. And this is the same for the animals. In essence, they are a consciousness, they are a frequency, a code that assists with the awakening, the healing, the coming back into wholeness. Each animal holds a key frequency that brings back the wholeness. And this deck is it's like a set of keys that map the pathway of the soul out of the karmic structures into the freedom and the evolution to be receiving, to be elevating, to be embodying. And it's not just information, it is powerful healing when when intentionally used the correct way.
Okay. So, so just to clarify what you're saying, these frequency codes are just choosing a particular animal that they resonate with to then embody their qualities that the human can connect with and receive. Would that be correct?
Yeah, this is yes, correct.
Right. Okay. That's fine. So you just said there about when the cards are used correctly. So myself, I just use them as a sort of guidance in the morning. I'll draw a card to see what sort of guidance it gives me for the day. But is there more? Would there be a more powerful way for me to use those cards and get something even more meaningful out of them?
You got the yeah, absolutely. It is, and you got the nina katanina nia katekia. So if you are weaving and you have an intention of a specific outcome, now then you can put that intention to tap into the consciousness. What can or what is it I need? What will assist me in creating that outcome in the most efficient way? And pull whatever cards you feel you need, and then hold space for these animals, this consciousness, this code to be received. So it's opening to the energy as if each card is a portal, as is each animal portrays that blueprint, that consciousness of a frequency that you need specific to this moment, to this intention, and calling it back in. You can also, when you're moving through life, they read the consciousness of a situation. So if you are around a situation, do I, don't I, and you are conflicted, you can put this to the animals and they will show you if you're stepping back into karma or if you are stepping into a space of weaving into the future, weaving forward in a way that helps you become and evolve and move into greater freedom of your own soul.
Thank you. That's a beautiful answer and great advice, which I'll certainly need to take on board when I next use them because I often just use them for the information that is given rather than actually bringing the bringing or using that animal card as a portal and bringing that spirit on board.
And similar to the number frequency, and you could also, if you are trying to connect to dreams more or something through sleep, heal through your sleep more, whatever you're setting your intention for as you sleep. If you just want to wake up feeling amazing the next day, you can pull a card and invite that animal in that frequency. Just pop it under the pillow or under the bed, and just be open to receive what comes forth.
Okay. That's fantastic. And I think there's a discussion just to come off of that. Well, would it be correct to say that that sort of frequency of the animal that we're tapping into, would that be, would we call that an elemental? Would that be the type of energy that we're tapping into? Or is it something different from that?
It is more. They weave through the elements, but they feel to be more source-light in a specific form that is presenting to assist humanity to rise up.
Okay, right. So that leads me to think the other something I heard a long time ago was that all birds are of the fae, are from the fairy realm, almost the spirit in the birds are otherworldly. Uh, does that would that make sense to you? Do you feel that?
And you
Would,
got the yeah, yeah. It feels to potentially limit the understanding of what they could offer if fully embodied.
okay. So what could sort of birds offer to humans if they were to fully embody their spirit? If a human was to take that on board,
And you've got the yeah, freedom, expansion, limitlessness.
okay. That's topics that Susan and I have been talking about actually recently about what more can we become, and we want that sort of unbounded limitlessness of the human potential. We want to achieve more. So that's very interesting that I went down the bird route and got that answer. Uh, which also the concept of uh, power animals and like which is the same as a spirit animal, I assume, but when a bird or an animal turns up to you in the wild or in your garden and it comes close to you, and in previous life I would just have thought, oh, I seen a squirrel, but I've heard it said that that animal spirit's showing up to you almost as medicine at that moment to bring something to you that you're needing at that time. So would that be a true statement? Would that be something you could expand on?
And you got the yeah, this is correct that when you are connected to the oneness of the natural world and you got the yeah, and you are moving in flow, if you are open to receive, and you got the yeah, the clues are all around. The energy of everything which is consciousness is communicating back to you, urging you, showing you, assisting you, and helping to guide, to heal, to show you the way forward. It's very beautiful.
Okay, thank you. So to take the discussion on to sort of some personal stuff for myself in the same theme. My dad died just over a year ago, and he was going through about a year, about 5 weeks of a sort of slow decline. And in that time, I seen a particular bird, a heron, which would have been a bird that me and my dad had seen occasionally when I was a kid, and it would have been pointed out as unusual. But I seen one 4 times within that almost a period of a month. And the last time I seen it, I was driving to the hospital to visit him nearly at the very end. And the bird actually flew down really low across the road in front of my car, like you would never ever see it as I was driving to the hospital. And I thought, oh, Dad, okay, the penny dropped. And I thought, right, that's him out traveling rather than lying in a hospital bed. That was him out sort of exploring as a heron, and telling me that he was there and he was enjoying himself. And that he's actually showed up 3 times in the past in the past 3 weeks. Uh, the two most recently on Sunday morning, I went out to the back garden and there was a heron standing in the neighbour's roof in a place that it should never ever be in the middle of an urban area. You just don't see them, and I've never seen it in my life. And it was standing in the neighbour's roof about 6:30 in the morning, and I really couldn't believe it. And then last night, as me and my brother had been discussing an event that we're doing for my dad on Saturday, we jumped in our cars to drive out, and there a heron was sitting by the side of the road, and I stopped the car to tell my brother. So, and this is I kind of don't have a question, I suppose. It's more as an observation that I'm seeing the animal, the bird, come to me and seeing it as a sign from spirit that things are working out for me. That my dad's there, he's with us, and he's showing up just to say, "Keep going, you're doing fine. Things are going okay." Would you agree that's a good way to interpret the heron showing up?
Absolutely. It also feels very to be helping with emotional support and growth and to it is like there is a movement and shift that is being influenced in Nyanakotonia that is assisting with clarity for those steps forward, that support and that growth. And Nyanakotonia, it is Nyanakotonia bigger than just a heron to show that it is that you are supported and Nyanakotonia, for he is very present and Nyanakotonia. Almost like like playing a piano and you got to create a symphony of what is unfolding around you in so many different parts of life. And it looks like sports, family, laughter, and connection, ideas, thoughts, and there is much growth happening. You're very supported, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So the final connection that I have, again, it's connected to birds. I've always been fascinated with birds from a young age. That was my very first passion, was looking at birds, bird books and ornithology. And then in 2020, I had a session with a shamanic healer who was going seeking for my spirit animal. So, but before I went, I seen a hawk appear to myself in the clouds. I think I may have told you this, or I've told Susan this story, but it appeared to me 3 weeks before the actual session, which I then sketched, and I knew I was going to have a hawk as a spirit animal, and of course that's what did show up for me in the session. And it was the very first guide that I have had, and then it quickly showed up to me as I started speaking more about it. It was showing up for me to make me believe it was there for me, and I wasn't just imagining things, but it was actually showing up at the right time and right place. So, and I speak to it every day, and I thank it for showing up and its guidance and everything. So, it's a connection that I have developed and I cherish. I'm just wondering what else I could be doing to develop that connection with the hawk and all of my guides, I suppose. But I'm speaking about the hawk because it's led on from the animal oracle cards discussion and the birds. How could I best connect or strengthen that connection?
Are you shape-shifting with the hawk? And you got that in to be flying, to be observing, to be learning in new ways, new perspectives.
No, I've never ever thought of doing that. No.
And you got this would be a good idea to and you got invited in to help you activate these and you got codes and you got to and awaken into the ability for your consciousness to become the hawk and to learn in new ways with new perspectives and new and it offers many different traits and abilities that could be incorporated into your truth, your reality, to help you feel more whole. And the very essence and consciousness of the hawk is very much a part of a part of who you are. And so if you were to call that in and not just know that it's there, but to embody the essence and truth of what that is, this would be very good.
Okay, thank you. That will give me some focus in my meditations to bring the hawk in and really try and embody the hawk within myself and in the meditations, and try and go flying with it and shapeshift with it as well.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That brings to the end my discussion on the animal spirits and the oracle cards. And before we move on, I now have very specific questions from Susan to ask, but I would just like to ask if you could do any clearing or upgrades that is needing on myself and Susan at the moment. I should have asked at the start of the session, but is there any scans you can do for us just to clear out any old energy that we'll no longer need and make us a better channel for the communication?
With pleasure. Cleansing out through the environmental space and just creating this frequency of absolute receiving and awakening that through the heart of every cell, spinning out, out, out. So it's coming, it's breathing, the light, the energy, the frequency, connecting from that earth star through the core energy field, up above through the soul star, higher, lower chakras, stabilizing the field to clear any noise, distraction. And also, just optimizing through the nervous system, the vessels, to be more optimal to receive the frequencies and the energies that you are looking for. And then working out through the mental and emotional bodies, particularly to soften the structures, the paradigms, in a way that you're ready to receive, that you're ready to embody, that how do you feel?
I feel great, thank you. I felt some gentle energy moving there, but most surprisingly was, I think it's called the Alta Major chakra, perhaps, right at the back. The first time I've ever felt the back of my head, and it was really pulsing a lot. Uh, and actually, I say the gentle energy. I felt really big heartbeats were going. It was really straight away. I could feel almost radiating out and bigger energy build out from my heart. But then, really interestingly, at the back of my head, I've never felt that before there. So thank you very much.
Many things are awakening with you both, and to be in this energy and to be receiving each week, and realizing the ripples of the light that is entering to allow for the rewriting, the multidimensionality of the remembrance to return in new and different ways, and the body, the vessel, just needing to harmonize when and as it's ready. So as we work out through the environment to clear the the energetic frequency that is heavier and so it creates a fluidity and movement that is more receptive to the frequency that you're sitting in.
Thank you very much. So I'm just moving on to questions from Susan here. So I'll just read what she wrote. This is an introductory paragraph. Susan was told in a QHHT regression that our teeth would be able to heal without intervention from a dentist. At that point, she asked for the amalgams to dissolve and the cavities to heal. She's since had a filling fall out after that session, but the cavity has not yet healed, or any other parts of her teeth that she's aware of. So our first question is it truly possible to heal teeth as she was shown in that regression?
Yes.
Okay, so how, our next question continues, how should we stimulate the nerves, blood vessels, and code of the body to regenerate enamel and dentin so that the teeth heal? Or is there, oh, sorry, is there something else that really needs to be addressed to make the healing come about?
The the code within the code. This is when the there is this forgetting around what should be so natural, like breathing and to call this energy in, but what has been distorted and forgotten, hidden, and lost to the mind. But it's not even the mind, it's the soul, just knowing it, like like breathing. It's in the energy signature, and to think and process it and break it all down so logically. And you can't envision the totality of what needs to happen. This is why one is shown to trust the process. Because you become the divine vessel, and by becoming the divine vessel, your energy signature then in that divine space teams those healers and those present in spirit working within that frequency, within that field, within that intention, can move through the divine vessel to instigate the healing. And it's not about doing it in the mind, and it's about feeling and knowing and existing in a space of absolute trust that the totality of everything is being accessed. And the rifts and the relationships, the interconnectedness of the other energy pathways, all the ripples are being accessed. What is inconceivable for a human mind, and can effortlessly be accessed and healed through the teams in spirit, when one just becomes the divine vessel.
Okay. So becoming the divine vessel is likely the challenge that we need to overcome, and removing the sort of the programming that we have from living in 3D and growing up on this earth that makes us believe to heal ourselves we need to go to a doctor or pop some pills or whatever or have an operation. Uh, I suppose becoming the divine vessel is part of the journey that Susan and I are on with you and just asking these questions every week and how we can be better and slightly more better and slightly more better. Uh, but I must, over the past couple of years, I've almost just tried to use my absolute stubbornness of willpower to say I'm well and I'm not going to get ill. Uh, that's maybe not the right frequency to be the divine vessel, but I've almost said I'm not going to allow myself to become unwell in any sort of situation or any major illness or injury or anything come my way. And I'm just I'm choosing good health and just saying, no, it's the only option for me. Uh, that's maybe not, that's quite different probably from being the divine vessel, but it's me just trying to believe it and just say, no, I'm going to be well. I'm going to be as healthy as a human at my age possibly can be, or even a human 20 years younger than me can possibly be, and get back to that sort of wellness. How beneficial is that type of mindset to have to a human?
Nirataganyanya, this is good because Nirataganyanya, you exist in what you believe in, and Yokotatitya. So if your belief structure is that you are super healthy and Yokotanyanya, then this is what is going to be unfolding as you move forward. And Yokotanyanya. So this is, finding the balance between Yokotatitya, the concept of your intention and nikototenya. So intention is good, you're not going to get sick, and nikototenya, and then the trusting and nikototenya that this will be delivered, and it is so. And nikototenya, and is it so?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Since I put this sort of mindset in place or thought that I would like to start thinking that way, I've had 2 very good years of just I've had a lot of very good years of being healthy, I must admit, but as I'm getting older, it's staying with me. It's the good health is remaining, and I am holding on to it by believing that that's the way I'm going to be.
Nikototenya, intention is a powerful tool to work with, yes.
So I slightly sidetracked off of Susan's questions there. So a third question or statement, just to continue that, she says she personally 100% believes that we can heal all parts of who we are when we are connected to the correct vibration. This means there is simply a distortion that she's experiencing and needs to be cleared so that she is aligned to heal. Could the Guardians please, with the greatest respect and adoration, assist Susan to achieve this as it is and uh, and as it is done, gifting Susan with the wisdom and then to help others heal their teeth naturally.
Nikototenya, yes. Nikototenya. So, the key is to know that it is truth beyond anything. Like you know that when you've taken one breath, you're going to be taking another. It's just that. And allowing, trusting the feeling, the sensation, the knowing that in any context, any intention, anything that is pure of heart, this can be woven, this can be healed. This is good for now.
Thank you very much.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Can I ask what you were doing for Susan there?
The relaxing the matrix of energy, the sense of always needing to understand, of always needing to know, to be able to break it down, to be able to it's it's like it's like a heartbeat. This ability is like a heartbeat that is accessed through a pure intention. So when there's other structures and paradigms and there's planetary and ancestral concepts that have programmed and shaped then it limits the ability to be fluid to move that fluidity into and through, to experience the miracle in its truest form. Instead, it becomes stuck. Because something within that subconscious programming is still holding a wall that is not seen or understood, and therefore you can't move past it. You don't even know it's there. So we were softening, allowing, opening, whereas it's ready to be received, and to release the tensions and the build-ups and the structure, so that the heartbeat through intention, heart-mind connection reconnects in a more pure, a more serene, more effortless way.
Thank you. There's one other point that Susan has asked me to. Yeah, Susan sort of explained her thinking behind those questions that I've just asked, just so that I knew why I was asking them. And our final statement sort of sums it up. She says, so essentially, I am asking the guardians to remove the limiters in the reality I exist in and to align me to a wholeness where I can be the pure divine channel for this to be so. Is that similar?
Using those words, it feels like a box, and It's very tight. It's very tight. And the openness is not there. And are you wanting to also receive this?
Yes, please. I would be very grateful to
And
receive that.
just take time for a moment, please. And what is able to be received has been received for now. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Thank you very much. So we're at the end of the questions that we had prepared for today. But the few things that I've been thinking of that would be good to ask is the connection to the wise ones and the architects that we made in previous weeks. And we've sort of received the message over the past couple of weeks that Susan wasn't really ready to fully embody those beings yet or bring them through. As there still a period of time needs to go before either the wise ones or the architects who come through to speak to us?
Yes. Just the energy of the vessel is very much transitioning with channeling so optimizing and fully anchoring the soul within the vessel through this vibration that we hold before expanding into other vibrational channels would be ideal. This will stabilize and give the most optimal outcome for for the variability within the different signatures when as she's channeling and without destabilizing and the mind getting in the way.
Okay. So apart from those, from the guardians and the architect, or sorry, the wise ones and the architects, is would there be any other beings that Susan would currently be the correct frequency to bring through? I'm just thinking that she connects to the galactics in her normal work with for clients and things like that. I'm just wondering if any of those beings would be of a frequency to connect with Susan. Is that something that could happen in our future, or?
Kotania nanenga tatania to Kotoria Niana and the Totania Tania and the Tateka Tatatin the Tateka Tatania and the Nia the Catini and the Nia Takatia Takatia. They are not privy to channel through this vessel. No, that is not her mission. That is not her role. That is not. She coordinates from above. That is not what will happen. No.
Okay, thank you. That sounds like a final answer going forward, so I wouldn't need to ask that again. So I now understand Susan's above that sort of level, although she does, I believe she connects to them on a regular basis for her work for clients. But
To work with them as a healing channel, but to not be akin to be channeling this is many others are already channeling the galactics, and they are those soul groups of those, and it is more optimal for that energy to be received through those souls. Not Susan, that is not her mission.
of course, that makes sense. So the final question for today is maybe a wee bit random and rambling, but things feel like they're very much speeding up here on Earth towards something changing, something big changing and happening soon. As well as speaking to yourselves and various guests through the Waking Class podcast, I also listen to a few other podcasts, and people are channeling information or are connecting with the galactics and receiving information that they're given so much detail on almost current spiritual events and how the earth is developing spiritually and humanity is developing spiritually and everything's speeding up. And it feels like 2026 could be a year of something big happening where we all really notice it. Like not just people like myself and Susan that are in this area of interest, but a much wider part of the community. And then 27 and 28 and everything will just follow that and snowball, and it'll become even more, the change in the earth will become more pronounced. I'm just wondering whether there's any additional info you can give us on that and what we should be doing to prepare and or looking out for and how.
All we would like to say is that the information is coming through in a lot of different streams, in a lot of different forms, and it is like creating a set of books that are informative from kindergarten through to extremely well educated. So all humans, all levels of consciousness can access this information. And it's being brought in, and it's like rooting into the planetary field so that everyone can start getting a nudge and in one way or another. Everything is shifting, the ideas, the thoughts, and much of it is unseen, but it is happening in a way that is creating a momentum that is like like a snowball starting little and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There is a lot of coordinated efforts and big and small, and the message is that if you can, you should speak your truth, be and own that voice that you have, because it is needed. That authentic strain, not doing what others do, but doing you, because that frequency and is the piece of the puzzle within the planetary ascension that is needed at this time.
Okay, right, that's a message I've heard before about speaking truth, and uh, we're I'm doing that more than I used to be, certainly, and will continue to do it more and more as the weeks and months roll past.
And encouraging others, and encouraging the children that the differences are their superpowers. And this is so important to nurture the differences, because that is what is being called forth. That is the foundation of what comes next. And it's not just about those on the spiritual journey, not just about those that are being mindful. It's about every single person in one way or another reconnecting with their own truth. And as this happens, relationships heal. People start finding the direction they need, because there's not the noise and the confusion that's radiating through the general consciousness of the matrix.
Can you explain what you mean by the differences? Is it differences of the new children coming through? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, then somewhat, some children will feel like they are so different to everyone else, and society says, and you must look like this, you must do this, you must do that. And if one was to really pay attention to that soul, and learn and understand that within all that seems difficult, all that seems challenged, all that seems like it's alone and segregated from what society is meant to look like, and within that, there is a superpower of some sort. And when they can find that seed, and sprout that seed, no matter how many other challenges there are, it's finding that seed and what that is that they need to bring forth, and working with that. Because as soon as that child feels like it is, can feel that empowered seed within it growing, lighting up, being realized, being allowed to flourish, and then everything else across the board also changes. And the way they think, feel, react, the way they fit into society, into schools. And there's so many, but if society continues to dictate that it must fit in a certain form, and it must look and act, and just like this, and how does that help the ascension?
Okay, right. Message well received. Well, thank you very much for all your fantastic answers today. Is there any final?
Before we go, we would like to upgrade the seed portal, and that is connected to you both, and to sustain a greater dimensional and vibrational reach. It is ready.
Yes, please. That'd be fantastic.
You can just hold space. And as we do this and work on that, and we are also just calling in like bridging codes. And so the frequency of who each of you are and shared is brilliantly harmonized with that portal. Are you happy to receive this?
Yes, please. Gratefully received.
And there is something where you meditate. Is this always in the same place?
Yes, most of the time. Yes, it's in this room. Yeah.
We would just like to also update, if you are willing, the geometry and to be more viable for connecting into what's coming online.
Yes, please. That'd be fantastic.
And you're feeling okay.
Yeah, feeling great. Thank you.
And that is all.
Thank you. If you don't mind, can I just ask a final question or two? Just when you were talking about the seed portal, it's just a reminder of how best Susan and I can be using it. I've used it as I go into meditation. It's the first place that I go and meet Susan, and then from there, one or two things may happen. We can go in one direction or another to travel together. I'll ask you a final question about it, but this links to the animal cards. So I may have said this in a previous meeting with you, but one day we went into the seed portal and it sort of got a jungle image of and then it was a very large statue appeared. But the statue turned into Hanuman, the Indian deity. So that was quite unusual and but then special. But then it was confirmed quite a few days later by the animal cards kept showing me the chimpanzee. Hanuman's the sort of monkey-headed god deity from the Hindu tradition. So it was lovely that the cards were backing up the fact that it showed up for me and it kind of come into my life at that point. And I often, when I'm drawing the cards in the morning, I'll put on the hymn Hanuman Chalisa just to have that playing in the background. So I just wanted to say that out loud again, that I had a really strong use of the seed portal that day and brought that into my life, and it was linked to the cards, which I felt was appropriate for this conversation. But do you see another purpose for Susan and I? How could we best use the seed portal in another way, perhaps? What else could we do with it?
Anything. Your mind is the only limit to the potentials. You can access the soul connection of the combined essence through the seed portal of who you are together. And so when you come to this space and you call into weave or travel or to just be, to breathe, and yokotocha, to learn, to grow, to evolve, to call in, and yokotocha, the codes and frequency, yokotocha, it's moving through a shared potential, and this offers much greater bandwidth of potential of what you're receiving and tapping into for your own abilities. It's like a expansion for you, an expansion for her, because you are in this agreed space of yes, yes, we are, yes, we choose to, yes, this is our path, and we are fully embodying that. So it is looking for ideas, thoughts, concepts, healing, exploration, growth, evolution, activation, anything, everything.
Okay, thank you. It's such a powerful tool to have at our disposal. So thank you again for that explanation and for the upgrade of it today and for the clearing on us and for all the wonderful information you've given to us today.
We just want to say the animal cards, people often will use crystals and feel the energy in the crystals. They can be used in a similar way because they hold the very divine essence. The drawings are channeled from the animals. The information is channeled from the animals. This is a pure consciousness stream, and therefore they hold a frequency. And when you choose to activate with that frequency, so you could pull multiple cards and sit them around you in a circle to create a vortex as you meditate and see what comes forth. You can use them in many different ways as you would use the crystals to instigate again healing, growth, knowledge, wisdom, remembrance, anything you want to exist and move and just evolve within this pure consciousness.
Okay, thank you. That's a fantastic additional use for the cards that I hadn't even considered. Thank you. It's very useful. Appreciate that.